My name is Ricardo Lee. I'm a proud graduate and valedictorian of Caribbean Graduate School of Theology's graduating class of 2020. I decided to pursue this program, my master's in counseling psychology at this institution. This program has really enhanced my capacity at work and has benefited me otherwise. I would definitely recommend CGST to anyone who would like to develop intellectual acumen while paying attention to spiritual growth.
What if writing a book is not just a way to transform the lives of many people, but also a way to create financial freedom and leave a legacy? Wouldn't you want to find out just how to do that? Well, that's what this show is all about.
Hi, I'm Hennika Watkis, Porter, speaker, coach, author of Podcast Power, and the host of the Entrepreneurial You podcast, inviting you to listen to the Entrepreneur Secrets podcast, brought to you by C. Ruth Taylor, best-selling indie author and the Caribbean's most trusted voice on entrepreneurship. Tune in for inspiration, information, and innovation to write and win with books. Get ready to dominate entrepreneurship.
Greetings, entrepreneurs. Welcome to another episode of the Entrepreneur Secrets podcast. I'm your host, C. Ruth Taylor, and this is a program where we give you the roadmap to win with books beyond book sales and dominate entrepreneurship. My name is C. Ruth Taylor, and as you know, if you've been listening, is that we are highlighting the book Untold Stories, because this book is truly an expression of entrepreneurship, where we are leveraging a book for maximum impact and income, and also immortalizing our stories so that we can leave a legacy to transform generations not yet born. And so last week I told you about the book, how it started, and that we were going to have the book launch. And so this week I'm going to be sharing highlights from the book launch, tell you how that went, and sharing 3 graduate stories from one of the students who was in the first batch of students at the Caribbean Graduate School of Theology, CGST. We're going to hear a little bit of her testimonial of impact, and also from the first female president of the school, just a little bit of her testimony of impact, and from the valedictorian of the last graduation, you're going to hear his story of impact. So it's all about sharing graduate stories of impact on this episode. But before I get more into all of that, let's have a word from our sponsor, Frame Art Jamaica Limited.
Come to Frame Art Jamaica Limited for your one-stop framing, graphic design, and printing needs. We frame photos, certificates, paintings, t-shirts, and so much more. You can also get high-quality prints and framing done in a quick turnaround time to fit your budget. Visit Frame Art Jamaica at 22C Old Hope Road, Kingston 5, weekdays 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call us at 876-929-3058 or visit us at info@frameartjamaica.com. Serving you for over 30 years.
Right, so let me tell you all about the book launch. I am so excited at what God is doing, because I do a lot of faith-based books, because I believe the call that God has given me is to publish His glory among the nations and to tell the world the amazing things that He is doing in the lives of people, and also to help to create financial freedom. So it's part of preserving Christian heritage and to show God at work in the lives of His people, not just way back when, but in the lives of His people currently. And that's what Untold Stories is all about. And I'm going to give you a little more about the backdrop of that. But this is what the program looked like. So this is my souvenir copy. The launch was part of CGST, the Caribbean Graduate School of Theology, their weekend. So they had their retreat and their consultation session to plan for the next 5 to 10 years of the school, because the last development plan ended, and so a new development plan is needed. And the retreat helps with, community building and strengthening them. And this was July 9 to 10. And then the launch, everything culminated with the launch. Everything was held at the Alhambra Inn in Kingston, Jamaica, that little hotel there near our national stadium. And the launch was from 2 to 4 p.m. on Saturday, July 10. And so I'm going to tell you how that went. All right, but just a little bit before I get into the launch and then let you hear the stories. One of the things I was reflecting on this morning is how beautiful things can emerge from institutions or places that people feel are insignificant, how significant things can be birthed from insignificant places. So part of the whole thrust, if you notice the title, the subtitle of the book is CGST and its transformational impact. So I'm doing a degree in transformational leadership. And I remember about 2 years ago, my church had a family week, and the title or theme for that week was This Place and Its Impact. And at that time, I was so focused on the deficits of my church. My church is located in Olympic Gardens, which is an inner city community in Jamaica. And I was looking at all the deficits, and I remember God telling me that I needed to esteem my church, and they asked me to share. No, I didn't really want to share that week, but I had a dream, because God speaks to me in dreams, and I knew I needed to obey and to share. So I was looking at my church, this place and its impact, and what would I share? And as I prepared, I recognized that part of what my church has been good at is that it fosters our personal development. So my church gave me room to grow. It identified my gifts as a speaker, and even as a missionary, they gave me full support. And I heard about the other persons as they shared their story, those who went on to become various professionals, get degrees. One of our members became a pilot. Our pastor himself, who grew up in the community, got on National Heroes Day, he got a national award, for his service. And I was like, we are the good in Nazareth. My church, Tower Hill Missionary, is part of the good in Nazareth. And we need to highlight more of the good that is taking place and show about persons, places, and their impact. So the idea of Untold Stories is about highlighting this person or this place and its impact. And it came out of an experience, that family experience at my church in Olympic Gardens. So a work of significance has come out of a place that is stigmatized and considered insignificant. Hence, we looked last week at Nathanael saying of Jesus, can anything good come out of Nazareth? And at the book launch, our speaker, Reverend Dr. Earlman Williams, who is from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and he did 2 master's programs at CGST, he spoke about how other Caribbean authors of renown, like Derek Walcott and Orlando Patterson, how they have in their writings at times painted a negative picture of the Caribbean, and we are historyless people, lazy, and the terms that were used, he quoted some of that. Maybe I'll play a little piece of that in one of the episodes. In his speech, he shared, how that negative perception of the Caribbean region has been highlighted, and that the significance of my work is that I am showing the good in the Caribbean, the good in Nazareth, and that, you know, as Nathaniel asked, he was skeptical, can any good come out of the Caribbean? That we need to break that Nathaniel spirit, which still characterizes much of the Caribbean and how people see us. And we need to raise up more Nazarenes, because out of Nazareth, the Nazarene Jesus has become the most influential person in all of history. And out of Olympic Gardens, a lot of what I'm doing, where people are commending me, a lot of those dreams and the steps that I'm taking was birthed in Olympic Gardens, in my mother's house, praying. And sometimes I would be up all night and God would give me a blueprint of my future. And my church honed my skill. My pastor, in fact, was the one who redirected me to the schools founded by Dr. Zenas Gehrig, who is the main person being highlighted in this book, along with other graduates. When I wanted to go to Oral Roberts University, he directed me to Jamaica Theological Seminary, and he said, you know what, it's accredited. And I was like, wow. And I went and I heard and I signed up. And then when I wanted to go to Yale, I was applying to go to Yale because personally I've always said that I am bright, and I wanted to see if I could get in and function in that environment. And then the acting president of JTS at that time, who is a graduate of CGST, he redirected me to CGST, and he highlighted my skills in writing. And so it has come full circle. So out of these places of insignificant, God has used persons to redirect me on a path that I would say a path of greatness. And the thing is, when Dr. Gehrig started these two schools, he wanted to stem the brain drain, because a lot of the Caribbean's best talent and minds, they tend to go overseas to study. And so those who can impact our nation greatly, many of them are not here. But we want to thank God for people like Glenn Mills and Usain Bolt and the University of Technology, who have shown that you can stay on Caribbean soil. We have the coaches, we have the institutions that can help you to develop into a world-class person that you can serve with the best. We may not be Harvard or Yale, but in our own work here, we're doing similar work. We're doing pioneering work. In fact, CGST is the first institution of higher learning in the Caribbean to, I think, have offered a graduate level master's program in psychology. And so they were offering a program in psychology, counseling psychology, before the University of the West Indies, and their program was the first to be accredited. In fact, Jamaica Theological Seminary, the other school founded by Dr. Zenas Gehrig, they were the first to be accredited by the University Council of Jamaica, and that is because of the work that Dr. Zenas Gehrig did in his efforts to ensure the quality of the schools he founded and to get accreditation. He visited 52 different countries and dialogued with people all over the world to ensure that these institutions of higher learning for Christian education would be able to give you an education that would cause you to stand on par with any graduate in the world. And the significance of this is that Dr. Zenas Gehrig was a white man, and he came to Jamaica in the 1950s, before independence. And that was at a time that people looked down on us more than they do now. In fact, now we have brand Jamaica. So people want to associate with us because of Usain Bolt, Bob Marley and others. But at that time, Dr. Zenas Gehrig saw the beauty and the abundance of us as Black people. And as a white man, a white Christian, he didn't come to oppress, but he came to uplift. And that's why I really love this man and what he has done. And so I am honored that I was able to be trained at home and now doing a work of significance, as others are telling me. And we can find models to inspire us, not just in overseas, but we have models here from the Caribbean to show us that great things are possible. And out of places of insignificance can come persons of significance who are doing a great work. And these stories must be told. So this is the first Untold Stories, Volume 1, but I am looking to collect more stories like these. This is part of what is going to be the Abundant Collective, highlighting the good in Nazareth. And this is the Caribbean edition. Now I'm holding up a proof copy, but we do have the official version. And then we want to highlight stories of people and places across developing countries that are creating an impact. So we want to have more stories, not just from the Caribbean, but I'm starting with the Caribbean. And so one of the things is that I wasn't sure if we were going to actually have books for the launch. And God was so good that the books came on the Friday and I was able to pick them up on the Saturday, and we're able to honor the contributors. 5 of the contributors were their contributors and we were able to give them their books and to hear the testimonies of impact. So it was very good. I mean, it brought me to tears. And the thing that was significant is that I have been doing a lot of virtual launches. I started virtual book launches before COVID, and COVID, in the time when we couldn't meet face to face, helped to, cement that. But we actually had a physical book launch for Untold Stories Volume 1. And then we were able to stream that. So I want to give a big shout out to the Caribbean Graduate School of Theology, because they took a lot of the work out of it for me. I contributed to just the program in terms of shaping the program, but they did everything. And, we had to change the venue because of Elsa, the effects of Elsa, the tropical storm. And we were planning to do this in Mandeville. And then at the last minute or so, we had to shift and do it in Kingston. So kudos to Dr. Kerr and her team, and Jody and Gilpin, and everybody who came on board. So now I'm just going to let you hear some of the graduate stories of impact. Let me introduce each person who is going to share. So Mrs. Faith Marie Thomas, you're going to hear her story. She graduated in 1989. CGST started in 1986, so she's one of the first graduates. She did an MA in counseling psychology, and it is because of the training in CGST that she has been able to do all that she has done. So CGST's training has shaped her professionally. She was the guidance counselor at Stony Hill Heart Academy for 19 years, and she got that job. Immediately after graduating, she got that job. And it was her training that helped her as she integrated psychology and faith. And she's an author of the book Geared to Live. She has co-authored another book with her husband, Dr. Donovan Thomas, H is for Happiness. And they founded a ministry which is geared to help people to live, to curb suicide rates, and to help those who've had loved ones who've committed suicide. And they've been doing a course in positive psychology at the Michael University College. So she holds an MA in counseling psychology. She's currently doing her doctoral program in psychology as well. She graduated with honors from the University of the West Indies. She's been a lecturer for more than 10 years. She lectured at Jamaica Theological Seminary and the other school that Zenas Garrick founded for 20 years at IUC. So because of the education, because to teach at the university and stuff, you need master's level training, and it is her CGST training that has enabled her to be able to enter these spheres of influence. She has taught at least 3 different universities. And when she shared, she was almost in tears. No, she was in tears as she reflected on how CGST impacted her. She started CGST shortly after she got married. And she's been married for 30 odd years, and how the lecturers at CGST helped to ensure that her marriage was a success. And so you're going to hear from her briefly. We also have Dr. Viviene Kerr. Like I said, she's the first female president of the school. She graduated in 2000. She did the MA in counseling psychology. She has a doctorate in education, and she's a librarian administrator. And one of the things she talked about in sharing her testimony is that she went to CGST for counseling thinking that she was going to make a living counseling, and God has a sense of humor. He's used that training and everything, but to put her in a different position and different capacity. Now, she has been a manager and administrator in different positions, teaching at the University of the West Indies and other places, using diverse skills. And the final person you're going to be hearing from is Ricardo Lee, 2020 graduate. So everybody on today's program graduated from the master's program in counseling psychology. I guess another program we need to bring the theological students. I did the master's in theology, and you're going to hear their stories of impact. I think Ricardo Lee is also a police officer. So we have from the first set of students, the first graduates, their stories of impact, and the last graduates, their stories of impact. So we want you to listen up and enjoy it. And then we want you to come on board to support CGST. So after their stories, I'm going to come back and tell you how you can support CGST.
With the conversation itself, and as we looked at CGST, we thought about how to do it. At that time, I was working as a registrar, and so the idea of this book came up. I didn't elaborate on the challenges that I had as a student, but it was meant to be a 3-year program though, because there were many challenges along the way. I also got married, and as a student, the challenge was managing just be married, being a master's program. So all of that was happening. I don't want to ever say that it's university program. But we go through. There are times that we pretend that it's always well. And it's not always well. So I'm always concerned about those students. But the good thing about God is that He doesn't throw away. Not always as clear cut. And it's only after we do that that we will be able to. For me, working with Ruth on the book was part of the process of just knowing God to be God. We're going to show people what CGST has been doing, what the graduates have been doing. And I did not always work out after the forum. I applied to go over psychology, and I got to, but the door did not open the door for me financially. So I did my next test, which was to go to Udemy. And at the time, we did not offer psychology either as a undergraduate course or a graduate course. So I went through, I did sociology, and I went to an office afterwards work where I met my husband, and I went there as a missionary. So I was able to become that missionary, and I was in the office. And then I got married, and I said to my husband, and I lived in an office at the time. I could not journey from an office to one night. So I was hoping every weekend, 1 year after I got married. If you understand anything about personal who studied in the night, first grade, in Jamaica of psychology, and we were not both living in this one, but it was not even to know Jamaican she. The only question was where we live. And he came up one day and he said he saw an advert for a senior guidance counselor at the Masterclass school. And what came with that position was a two-bedroom apartment. And a week after we had, and I know very quick, I called parents and I said to them, I did an interview and I am, I know, and the man just said to the doctor that because of teaching. I walked that job about 2 weeks after I graduated from teaching. That was just and I got trained 19 years at school in practicality as senior science counselor. And I praise God for the impact that God allowed me to make on those students' lives. Just this year, I'm now doing my Udemy in psychology. I'm doing a doctorate in psychology. And where I am doing my practice, somebody came in and he recognized me and said, "Miss, I recognize you." And he went on to tell me about the impact that I made at that. It was because of teaching.
My name is Ricardo Lee. I'm a proud graduate and valedictorian of Caribbean Graduate School of Theology's graduating class of 2020. I decided to pursue this program, my master's in counseling psychology at this institution. This program has really enhanced my capacity at work and has benefited me otherwise. I would definitely recommend CGST to anyone who would like to develop intellectual acumen while paying attention to spiritual growth. Also, for persons who would like to be able to integrate psychology with theology, this institution is definitely there for you. Since I've been at CGST, I have experienced increases in my spiritual maturity and have seen overall improvements as a whole person. The staff is warm, they are student-centered, you can speak to them about your challenges and they're always responsive. I can say so much about the Caribbean Graduate School of Theology. Pursuing studies at CGST, makes it really easy, almost as easy as 1, 2, 3, just because of the kind of environment that is created by the staff, by students who fit in with the values that are on show there. So CGST is definitely my institution, and I would recommend this institution for graduate studies for everyone.
All right. So we apologize if there were any audio challenges because this was from the recording from the live launch and it wasn't done in a studio, that kind of thing. And it has been streamed on Facebook, so you can go to CGST's Facebook page, Caribbean Graduate School of Theology, and you can watch the launch, the full launch, it was about 2 hours and 43 minutes. A lot of fun. Our MC, Yetisha Ferguson, trust me, she did a fabulous job. And how can you support CGST? You can share the stories of impact. You can buy the book, and you can order from the school's page, cjst.edu.jm, and go to online payment, and there you can order your books. You can get the books on Amazon. And so share the stories of impact. But one of the things is that I want to raise up 50 CGST ambassadors or flame carriers who will help me to raise 250,000 US dollars to help the school to alleviate some of its debt. The school has a debt burden that needs to be lifted. And so I'm doing my part. And the thing is, remarkable things can be done when we seek to big up Jesus. So over 700 persons have graduated from the institution. So we must campaign 50 to help us to deal with it. Now, the school has been doing well. Dr. Kerr said they've raised quite a significant amount of money thus far. And so we want to help them clear all of this. Can we do this in 12 to 18 months? With God, all things are possible. But if you share your story in your circle, your graduate story of impact, and ask persons for pledges, this can be done. Russell Conwell was a lawyer, newspaper editor, and then eventually clergy person. Many years ago in the 1800s, some students came to him to ask for help. They wanted to go to university and they couldn't afford it. And so I think he helped to found Templar University. Templar University, if I've gotten that wrong, then you can correct me in the comments on YouTube or elsewhere. And he told the story of Acres of Diamond. And we know the story of Acres of Diamond about the farmer who sold his property and went in search of diamonds. And he couldn't find the diamonds. And in desperation, he threw himself into a stream and ended his life. But the property that he sold, the person who bought that, one day, I think somebody came on his farm and saw a large stone that was in his house. And the person asked him, where did you find this stone? And he said, there are a lot of stones like this on the property. And the man said to him, well, that is diamond. And it turned out to be, it's a true story, that the property that was bought turned out to be the largest diamond mine in the world. And so the original owner went in search of diamond, not understanding that, not knowing what diamonds look like. And he had his own acres of diamond on his own property. And sometimes we have the same kind of attitude towards the Caribbean. We want to go for greener pastures when here in the Caribbean are our own acres of diamond. And Russell Conwell shared the story, and he was able to raise almost single-handedly $7 million. And I want to follow suit, but by sharing the story of Dr. Zenas Gehrig, a white man who came to Jamaica, saw our potential, and he invested in us, got a national award at the end, and the impact of his work, how he saw something significant. And the fact that this man was not flashy. People thought he was not the right person for the job. He was pronounced dead at birth and then brought back to life, and then had other brushes with death and unassuming, and yet God has used him greatly to do pioneering work in the Caribbean. And so our acres of diamonds are here, and we want you to believe in the Caribbean like Dr. Zenas Gehrig believed in the Caribbean, and to invest in leadership development, because it's all about raising up leaders who will be able to change our society, because everything rises and falls on leadership, and Dr. Gehrig invested in that. And we want you to help us to continue to invest in leadership training through CGST so that we can change the world. And so I invite you to go to the page and make your pledge. Tell others about the book, buy it on Amazon, buy the Kindle or the ebook and leave a review. I'm going to put it on drafted digital soon, so the other versions will be made available. And then we're also going to work out how we can sell directly from CGST's page using book funnel. So we're going to set that up so that you can get your ebook. And eventually, I'm sure we're going to do an audiobook, but we're taking it one step at a time. So I trust that you've enjoyed this episode. So it is longish, but I'm excited about this work and I want you to come on board. So thank you for joining us, and I'm encouraging you to write and publish more stories, pen it to win it, and let's dominate authorpreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.
I'm Tamara Francis, educator and editor. Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, and share the podcast with your network. If you'd like to increase your impact and income with books, visit authorpreneursecrets.com for more resources, including the books Pen It to Win It and Authorpreneur Secrets. Join the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy membership group for courses, coaching, and community support to write, publish, and win with books. Enrollment is in January and June each year. You may also sign up for one of Ruth's Publishing Made Easy courses or private coaching to write and publish your next book. Until next time, go pen it to win it.